to the channel. I am Miranda Marie Travels, for those of you who do not know. For those of you who are returning, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm coming to you with some of my favorite solo travel tips. I am a traveler by work because I am in the travel healthcare, and then I just love to travel in general. I wanted to do a few of my favorite little solo trips because I do have some trips coming up. A couple of them are group and a couple of them are solo. So I just figured I'd get on here and share some of my solo travel tips. I know there's plenty of tips out there. There's probably plenty of other videos out there, but these are tips that I have found have worked very much in my favor. And I've also shared these with some other friends and families, and it seems to work out for them too. So without further ado, let's go. All right, so my first tip is, now take this with a grain of salt. Everyone, different strokes for different folks, but my personal number one thing is start with a budget. I'm telling you, if you start with a budget, it will be so much easier. I always start with a budget, and when I say budget, that means my whole trip, my flight, any transportation, travel insurance, even money that I plan on spending while I'm wherever I'm going to. Just have a budget. It definitely helps. That if anything else, definitely have a budget. My second thing is pick a destination. Are you going to be stateside? Are you just going to a different city? Are you going international? You want to make sure that you pick a destination. That would be number two, because you want to make sure that once you pick your destination, it's somewhere where it can fall within your budget. If you pick somewhere and you really, really want to go, by starting off with a budget, that gives you leeway to be, hey, I can either afford this, or I may have to go a few $100, $1,000, whatever, higher than what my original budget was. Or I can definitely afford this and still have so much more money left over, because wherever you decide to go, it may be somewhere where, it's not very expensive. It could be somewhere where you may have a family member there. You could probably stay with them or a friend. Or maybe they're out of town, but they're like, hey, I'm not there, but you can definitely use my apartment. You can use my house, something to that effect. You may also have points or, credits if you're a heavy duty traveler, the Amex cards, the Delta cards, the hotel, loyalty points, things of that nature. That's always a great thing, that's a bonus. That's a bonus right there, what I just said. If you have not signed up for loyalty memberships for flights, hotels, rental cars, do it now. Even if you don't even think you'll ever stay at that hotel. A lot of these hotels are linked together. A lot of these rental car places are linked together. A lot of these flights are not necessarily linked together, but when you start to travel more international, you might be on Qatar, you might be on Canadian, you might be on Lithuania, those type of flights. The flights we usually are on, Delta, Southwest, American, United, Frontier, some of those flights will calculate those points, and those points can transfer over to other international companies. So make sure y'all are signing up for every single loyalty program under the sun. Seriously. Bonus tip. So start with a budget, pick a destination. Number 3, pick a place to stay. No matter if it's with a family member, a friend, Airbnb, a hotel, a villa, wherever it is, you want to make sure that you pick a place to stay. I always recommend picking a place to stay that's fairly neutral to all the activities that you may want to do, especially if you're going to an area where it may not be all inclusive. So I would definitely stay somewhere that's kind of close to the food you want to do, close to, if you're the type of person who likes to hang out with the locals, if you're the type of person who likes to go check out local restaurants, or you go to a club or things of that nature. I always try to say stay somewhere localized. That way it'll also cut down on transportation fees, Ubers, Lyfts, ride shares, whatever form of transportation they have in the area that you're going to. Definitely pick a place to stay that's as centralized as possible. I know it's not always that way, but if you want to stay within your budget, or you just really don't care, that's just something that I always like to keep in mind. The fourth thing, do your research. If you're traveling solo, make sure that you do your research on whatever destination you're going to, whatever resort, Airbnb, or whatever. Do your research. Google, travel, TripAdvisor, YouTube. If you want to go to El Salvador, YouTube solo travel to El Salvador. If you want to be more specific, female solo travel to, El Salvador, or to Mexico, or to Japan, or to Las Vegas, or to, New Orleans, or to Montana, wherever it is you want to go. Do your research. And doing your research, it'll let you know what's around the area to do for activities, any kind of foods, any kind of, beach clubs, any kind of historical sites, how long it takes from the airport to get to your destination, all those things. Do your research. It'll tell you, is it foot traffic heavy? Are you going to require to do a train, a bus, a ride share? Is it safe? Is it a safe area? What's the safety grade of the area? Things of that nature. You want to make sure that you do your research. Another thing is join a Facebook travel group specifically for solos, whether it's male and female, or if it's just strictly female. Join a Facebook solo travel group. I'm sure plenty of people have been to some of the places you want to go, but just don't have an idea to start. A lot of them will have different itineraries, different restaurant ideas, Instagrammable photos, everything. Like if you go to this bar, ask for this bartender, or if you go to this restaurant, ask for this waitress or waiter if you can, because their service is immaculate. If you go here, stay at this hotel because it was super safe and they gave by. Whatever the case is, you can find all that information if you join a Facebook travel group. I'm telling you, probably one of the best things I ever could have done was join Facebook travel groups. Another thing I will say is you want to make sure that if you are traveling out of the country, you want to make sure your passport is in good standing. Some countries require you to have visas. When you're traveling through the airport, do you have TSA pre-check? Do you have clear? Do you have global entry? These are different things that you want to apply for. If you plan on going out of the country, within the next 6 months, I'm telling you now, you might want to go literally tomorrow to a Walgreens, a CVS or something, and start on your passport, because passports have been taking forever to come through. I don't know why. I don't know if they're still short-staffed. I understand during the whole, pandemic, everything was shut down, but I'm like, by now we should be back up and running. But no, some people have it where, oh no, I got mine in, 6 to 8 weeks, like they said. Other people, I've been waiting since November of last year, and I'm going on my trip in July. So I'm telling you now, get on, even if you don't plan on going anywhere soon, still apply to get your passport. So whenever you're ready to go, you can go. For those who have their passports already, make sure that you're within that allotted time of, 6 months prior to expiration. You want to make sure, because I'm telling you, I've been at the airport going to work, and people who are traveling international, they go to check in, and one lady was a day before her 6 months hit. He was like, I mean, I can let you go, but it's not a chance. It's a chance that you're not gonna be able to come back. So she literally had to go and find one of those little rush, what you call them things, and see if she could get it same day. You might be lucky, but who's gonna spend 5, 6 thousand, 500, 600, 1,200,000, $1,200 after I done already spent X amount on this vacation? I mean, if you got it, I ain't mad at you. Go ahead. But no ma'am, no ham, no turkey. Make sure you stay on top of that. Number 7, share your itinerary with your family and friends. Like, at least 3 people. 3 people should have your full itinerary with all your information. Where you're gonna be, where you're gonna be staying, how to contact you. They can't contact you, how they can contact the hotel. Let them know when you arrive. This is my room number. This is whatever the case may be. This is the Airbnb that I'm staying at. This is whether you staying at a hostel, this is the hostel I'm staying at. It doesn't matter. Let your friends and family know, at least 3 people, where you are in case anything pops off. Prime example, people who were on vacation and the pandemic hit, people who were all over the country, and they got stuck and got stranded because everything shut down. So if we ain't learned nothing from that, let somebody know where you are. If you are traveling to a different company, let the U.S. Embassy know you coming. You can go online, go to the U.S. Embassy, fill out information. They'll ask you for your trip info. When I went to Barbados last year, I went on there, I put in my information. They asked like what's your hotel, the dates you're going to be staying, the contact number for the hotel, who's your emergency contact. I think I had to put like 2 or 3 emergency contacts in there, my info, like my flight info, my passport info. So if anything would have popped off, we would have been good. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you definitely, if you don't do the U.S. Embassy, if you're going to a different company, at least let your friends and your family know where you are, who you with, and how they can get in contact with you if some stuff pop off. Number 8, when you're using taxis and ride shares and local transportation, make sure you're doing it wisely. Make sure that, which goes back to your research, you're researching this area. What's the most common transportation used in the area? Do they have ride shares there? Some countries, they don't have Ubers and Lyfts. All they have are taxis. Or you may be over in Thailand somewhere, they have the little things called tut-tut. So you never know. So that's going back to research. But you want to make sure that you are using it wisely. If they have Uber, share that information. They got a Lyft, share that information. Like, let them, I don't care if you're screenshotting it, sending a text message, sending a picture and the name and the license plate of whoever is over there. Let somebody know where you are. And then when you are, the number 1 rule of solo travel, don't tell anybody you're traveling solo, especially if you in somebody's car. Like me, I will have my earbuds in the whole time. I will make sure my phone is on silent just so it won't ring. But I'll be on that bish like I'm talking to somebody. Like, yeah, Dad, I'm in the car right now. Yeah. Or, hey, big bro. Like, hey, Mom. Hey, babe. Like, I ain't got no babe, but he don't know that or she don't know that. But they gonna know that I'm in this car and they know I'm talking to somebody. And guess what? I ain't getting off the call until I get out the car. Period. Like, just stuff like that. Also, going back to communication and everything, download WhatsApp or whatever communication app you deal with. WhatsApp is just the most popular. It seems to be the most easiest. You definitely want to download WhatsApp. You definitely want to download Google Maps and Google Translate, depending on where you're going. If you're going to a country you're not fluent in their language, you want to have something to back you up. I love Google Translate because it also has this thing where if you take a picture of something, it'll automatically tell you what it is. Like it'll show on the screen what it is. So like if I'm in the store somewhere, let's say I'm in Japan and I'm looking at something, I'm like, it might be bananas, but I'm not sure if it's bananas because it don't look like regular bananas. Or I'm looking for this kind of wine, but I'm not sure if that's the kind of wine. If you take a picture of it and hold it up, it'll automatically translate for you. Another thing that's good for transportation as well, besides Google Maps, is an app called City Mapper. City Mapper will give you taxis, buses, trains. It'll give you live action, what time it's supposed to be there, what time it's supposed to go out. You can even, like, depending on where you're at, you can load up your little cards, like all that. So Google Translate, Google Maps, City Mapper. Definitely want to do that. You also want to make sure that you notify your cell phone provider, let them know that you will be traveling overseas. Depending on what kind of service you have, you may be able to get service where they're at. Like when I go to Jamaica, or like when I was in Thailand, when I was in Mexico, my phone just switched over to whatever their popular cell phone service was, which it helped for me. Of course, calling, I'd be like, no, we ain't gonna call. We either gonna do this FaceTime, or we're gonna do this text. If you need to call me, we're gonna do it through WhatsApp, because it was more expensive for me to take a call than it was to send a text message or to FaceTime. So you definitely want to do that. You can also look into the local SIM cards. Sometimes it's actually cheaper for you just to get a SIM card when you get to whatever country you're going to and just use it that way. Especially, it's also better for the Wi-Fi services over there, because some of these countries, their Wi-Fi isn't as good as ours, and or because our SIM card is not what's the word I'm looking for? Our SIM card is not, I'll just say, connected the same way as if we were in the States where our usual phone lines are. You might not get no service at all, or it might be super duper slow. So definitely look into getting a local SIM card. Number 10, and this is specifically if you're going to an overseas place. No basic phrases. Like, you don't have to be fluent in the language. If you are, kudos to you. Send me an email, because I might need you to be my teacher. But at least know basic phrases. I mentioned to have the Google Translate or whatever other form of translation program you have on your phone. But if you just know the basics, hola, ¿cómo está? Mi amo, or, bonjour, parlez-vous anglais? Like, they can tell, you can tell. Definitely don't have that whole accent, but at least they're just like, okay, we understand they're tourists, they're not from here, but at least they're attempting to greet us in our own language. I know sometimes some of y'all be out there and while we're here in the USA, but somebody else may be speaking their own language, and the first thing some people, they need to be speaking their own language if they're gonna be over here. You don't think other countries don't think that about us as Americans when we go to their country and we can't speak their language? So, like I said, I'm not saying be fluent, but it's nice to at least know some basic phrases, especially hello, goodbye, thank you, and do you speak English? To ask them, because some of them, a lot of the times, they do speak it, but they're not just gonna come out and just start speaking it. Period. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I go to Mexico, Dominican Republic, somewhere where they speak Spanish. They come up to me all the time. I'm like, whoa. Hold on. Un poquito español. Un poquito. Yeah, slow it down. I understand it better than I can speak it, but I know enough to get by. So that's why I'm like, at least know something. Number 11, look like you know where you're going. Like, don't be out there just looking all touristy. You know what I mean? Because that's when people tend to prey. That's when pickpockets happen. That's when robberies happen. So at least look like you know where you're going, which goes back to research. Make sure you're researching the area. Like some people are itinerary writers, they have their whole itinerary down. They know, they've already mapped it out. They know where to go. They done studied on it. They done did their research. And it's somebody who go off free, nilly-willy, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But you want to at least look like you're doing something. Like you look like you know where you're going. So, and it's okay to ask for directions. There's nothing wrong with that. But in asking, know enough to say, hey, I know I'm supposed to be going bop, 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 bop. I just want to make sure I'm going the right direction. I'm in the general direction. You know what I mean? Or if you need to stop and look up directions, walk into a cafe, go into a pharmacy, go into a store, do it that way. I would not suggest doing it on the street. You know what I mean? So that's my tip about that. Which leads me to number 12. Use and hide your phone strategically. In other countries, iPhones are a hot commodity to be stolen. Okay? Like literally a hot commodity. People will specifically look for people with iPhones just so they can try and steal them. So that's why I said, walk into a store, go into a cafe, do what you gotta do and keep it pushing. Number 13, dress appropriately for the culture. Now this is more so for international travel because certain areas they require you to wear certain things or they require you not to wear certain things. Just like when we were in Barbados, they specifically said, do not wear any camouflage. You could be arrested. And that's because why? Their police, military, they're the only ones who wear camouflage. When we went to Thailand, there were certain temples and stuff we went to, we couldn't have bare arms. So make sure that you do your research and dress appropriately for the culture. Number 14, have your credit cards and debit cards available, but also have local currency as well. You also want to make sure that you let your bank and your credit union or whatever know that you'll be traveling. Just give them up a call, or if you have the little instant chat, a lot of people now, they just have a little instant chat where you be like, hey, this is such and such, such and such. I will be traveling from this date to this date. I will be traveling out of the country. So that way they know, okay, she's out of the country. This isn't fraud, and they won't shut off your cards. And the reason why I say also have local currency, because sometimes even though you call it and notify them, sometimes the card can still get frozen. So you don't want to be in the middle of dinner, especially if you're by yourself, and your card is cut off. And then, of course, you got to think, okay, time zones. It might not be somebody available at that same time who can assist you. So make sure you have that backup cash on you. I know some areas now, especially internationally, they're starting to use Apple Pay, which is cool. I love it. Works perfectly. I do also know that I know some people like to get the currency before they even leave, so they'll go to their own bank to exchange the currency. Some banks I found tend to be a little bit more expensive. I found myself when I went to Thailand, it was actually cheaper, and when I was in Barbados, actually, it was cheaper for me just to go to a local ATM and pull out the money that I needed. It was a whole lot cheaper when I got charged the international fee from my bank, as opposed to the one time I went out of the country and actually went to my bank to get cash. It was a whole lot more. So you definitely want to contact your bank and talk to them and see what would be the best way for you. Like, just take a look at those currency exchange rates and everything. Number 15, specifically for my international travelers, 3 words: universal plug adapter. All plugs are not the same across the world. I'm telling you this now. Universal plug adapter. You can go on Amazon. You can get one for about $10. You know, I think the most expensive one I've seen is about like 50, and that's because they had like all the like every plug you could think of. There's ones that's specifically for European. There's one specifically for I think there's one like for Latin America. I have one that's universal for at like the big shebang. So no matter where I go, I'm gonna be able to plug in. I will say if you can get two, you always want to have a backup just in case. But a universal plug adapter is a must. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to give y'all another bonus. This wasn't on here, but when I thought of that, it made me pop in my head because I was saying Amazon. So bonus, make sure that you are taking your tripod with a Bluetooth clicker for all of those bomb Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat photo ops and videos. So if you're already by yourself, and if you don't want to be bothering anyone, asking them to continuously take your picture, can you get this video? Do it yourself. Do it yourself. That way you can snap as many as you want to. You can take as long as you want to. You don't have to look at it and then, do you mind taking one more? You can do it yourself. Another bonus, and if you want to not have to worry about that, go on Airbnb Experiences. They have photographers who will come and take pictures for you. You can get the highest or the lowest. There's some people who even will just book using an iPhone and to get all the bomb pictures, all the bomb videos for you. You could probably do like an hour photo shoot, a 2-hour photo shoot for like $50-$60. And they either edit them for you or you can edit them yourself. But I just gave you 2 bonuses right there. 2 for the price of 1. So don't be afraid to, you know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to get out there, especially if you're a content creator. You know you can't be afraid to be out there and getting that good content. Because what are we traveling for? Yes, we're traveling for the experiences, but we also want to be able to share those experiences so other people can vicariously live through us. And also so they can get ideas and get enough courage to be able to be like, you know what? If he can do it or if she can do it, I can do it too. Let me get my life together and get my solo trip going. Okay. And my last and final tip number 16, have fun. Be safe, but have fun. Enjoy those experiences. Enjoy just the freedom of you being able to get up and doing what you want to do on your own time. If you want to book a trip and be somewhere for 5 days and you don't want to do nothing but you don't want to leave the resort, you just want to stay there and eat and drink and sit by the pool and read your book, do that. If you want to book time and you want to have an excursion every single day you're there, do that. If you want to go and you want to go on a hike, you want to go swimming, you want to go chill with the locals, do that. That is the purpose of traveling, to make memories and to have these awesome, amazing experiences. Not everyone is blessed enough to be able to get those type of experiences. So enjoy them while you can. Like I said, safety is always number 1. But you want to make sure that you have fun. Okay? So, those are my solo travel tips. Good for really anyone, male or female. Some of those I also recommend for group travel as well, especially as far as like the research, the budgeting. You know, it's just certain stuff in there. Passport, embassies, visas, all that kind of good stuff. I recommend that for everybody. If you want me to go more into detail about the U.S. Embassy thing, let me know. Drop the comments down below and I could definitely do a video about that. Also, if you want me to go into more depth about the global entry and the TSA pre-check, I will be happy to do that as well. And also, if you like me to drop a story time about my first ever solo trip and how it turned into a solo trip, let me know down below. I'll definitely do a video on that. But I am Miranda Marie Travels. I appreciate y'all stopping by my channel. Please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. And until next time, safe travels.